How's everyone doing out there? I am Joey Pucks. Let's get into it. In today's video, we are checking out my Destiny 2 PC settings and keybinds. Like many of you, with cross-save going live, I am making the switch from console, specifically Xbox, to PC. I thought it might be helpful for players to hear from someone who is in a similar boat as them as to how I am approaching settings and keybinds. Let's start actually with the look sensitivity. I'll just point out that, hey, listen, look sensitivity, keybinds, really personal. Use these as a guide, but then do what makes sense to you, what feels good for when you are playing the game. Mouse sensitivity. Right now, I am running a mouse at 800 DPI. I have got 6 as my look sensitivity. This has fluctuated between as low as 5 and as high as 8 over the last few days. 6 feels good to me. I have also dropped down the ADS sensitivity modifier from 1.0 to 0.9. The only other thing I've changed here is aim smoothing. I will point out the controller settings here. I play 3 on console. I have used 6 when I have used controller on PC for a few matches. This felt pretty close to what I use on console. Now I will say that Drewski, who is active on Reddit, has a great guide to controller settings and stuff like that. I will link that in the video description so you can go check that out. But I will say that as someone who plays on 3 on console, 6 has felt pretty good given the changes to field of view, the extra frames, etc. For key mapping, I am not going to run through every single one of these. I am simply going to focus on those items that have changed. So if I don't cover it, assume that it is close to or actually what is the default setting. So I don't think I made any changes here in this first section. In the character section here, I did change melee to one of my additional mouse buttons. I click it with my thumb. This is a setting I have used in other FPSs on PC that I use mouse and keyboard with, and it works for me. It's familiar to me, so that's what I have set there. I am in the camp of the hold sprint. As opposed to toggle sprint, I use shift. I think, again, that's a fairly common PC key bind for the keyboard. Contrary to that, though, I use toggle crouch as opposed to hold crouch. Again, something I'm used to playing with toggle crouch on console. My brain is kind of wired that way, so I wanted to be able to toggle crouch as opposed to hold crouch, and I use the left control button. Class ability. Here's one worth talking a few seconds about. I play Hunter, that's my main. I need the dodge, and I've used dodge on console as my way to escape and to disengage from encounters. I want to be able to have my fingers available for WASD movement and also activate my dodge ability. So I have started with Alt that I would use. It's right next to spacebar on my keyboard, and I would use my thumb to activate it. That was going okay. I actually mapped this as a secondary bind to my mouse scroll wheel down. That's worked a little bit better. I will say that given how quickly you can move and you can just use your mouse to swipe left or right and to get out of wherever you are, the dodge as an evasion maneuver doesn't seem to be as important on PC, but we'll see how this plays out. For now, this is what I'm running. I have also moved grenade over to one of the extra mouse buttons I have. Again, I click it with my thumb. Same concept as melee. I want to be able to look around and to deploy my grenade. That's what I use in other FPS games on PC, so I've carried that over here. Jumping down here to switch weapon, I want to point this one out because this basically operates like your Y button on Xbox. So I can tap it once and switch between my kinetic and energy weapon. I can hold it down, I'll go to my power weapon. One of the issues that I came across was sometimes my sniper was my kinetic weapon. Sometimes it was my energy weapon. So hitting 1 or hitting 2 from match to match didn't always necessarily bring out what I thought it was going to bring out. And so I can use Q as a shortcut here. I am trying to force myself to use 1, 2, and 3 as I think that those are, the traditional keys for PC. Also probably the most efficient in the grand scheme of things. So I will work on those, but you can use the switch weapon. I've mapped it to Q for now as the shortcut. Vehicle stuff, I did change this around. You can just see it right here. boost, break, exit, use whatever is comfortable for you. And no changes down in this area here in the shortcuts. As for my video, I'm running at 1920 by 1080, full screen. Again, going for as many frames as possible, as consistently as possible. I've got a 144 Hz monitor, so I've capped it at 144. My field of view is only at 100. I was playing at 105, but I couldn't get used to it. Didn't really like what it did to my depth perception and my ability to see enemy players. It's an issue I also had in Apex Legends, so I started at 105. I quickly backed it off to 100. I think this is where it's going to stay. We'll see. In terms of advanced video, some of the stuff I toned down, again, trying to maximize my frames per second and also make my FPS as consistent as possible. So shadow quality I turned down to lowest, environmental detail distance, foliage detail distance, foliage, shadows distance, all down to medium from high. So by default, it's going to give you the highest settings that you can run. And so I have tweaked this down again to try to maximize the number of frames I can get. And that is pretty much it. We just jump down to gameplay real quick. Again, FPS display is on so I can see how my performance is. Reticle location, PC default versus console default. On console default, it's actually going to place it slightly lower than center, believe it or not. So I've got it on PC default, which is right in the middle. Reticle color, I stick with the default white. I know people have changed this around to other colors to make it more prominent and noticeable, whether they're streaming or just for their own eye. Again, do what you will with that. And that is pretty much it. So with cross save going, a lot of people jumping from console to PC. We've been very married to our characters over the last few years. I certainly have been playing on Xbox since 2014, Destiny into Destiny 2. This is very exciting. Again, go with what's comfortable for you. Try out some different stuff. Give it a fair shake. And as I said, I did point out some of the controller settings for those of you who are jumping over but planning to use controller. If you found this video helpful, if you enjoyed it, leave it a like, leave it a comment, subscribe to the channel. You can also check Joey Pucks out on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch, and I will see you guys next time. Peace!